20 spoilers: Emmerdale murder plan, Coronation Street amputation tragedy, EastEnders horror. Soapland is beset with an array of medical emergencies in coming episodes as Kevin Webster has to make a devastating decision to have his son Jack's foot amputated in Coronation Street while Matty Barton is beaten up in Emmerdale and Nancy Osborne collapses in Hollyoaks. Away from the hospital wards, Cora Cross is back in EastEnders and she isn't the only return as McQueen and Carl Costello both rock up again in Hollyoaks as a big new storyline kicks off. There's much more to come too, including a big confession, an affair exposed, a sinister murder plan, a disastrous date, a drug temptation, a terrifying threat, a family argument, a devastating con, a vicious scheme, some serious flirting, a business decision, a deal with the devil and a violent clash. Here we go. Coronation Street. 1. After Jack is given a devastating diagnosis, Kevin has to make the arduous decision to allow his son's foot to be amputated. The procedure goes well, but Kevin then has to tell Jack what has happened and later grumbles when he looks at his trainers. 2. Duncan desperately tries to encourage Sally to remain in charge of the charity project and tugs at her heartstrings by telling the story of his wife. Sally agrees to grant him the money, but when he then disappears and £40,000 vanishes, she realizes she has been conned. 3. After being asked to leave by Fizz, Sean is staying on Liz's sofa, but when she finds out that he has got her shifts at the Rovers, she kicks him out. With nowhere else to go, Sean steals a tent and is forced to sleep rough. 4. Kayla quits her job and heads away from the street after visiting her dad, but when Neil is then beaten up and has his appeal denied, she changes her mind and returns to declare her love for Craig. But she has a sinister plan in mind. 5. After Peter witnesses Carlo arguing with Alia over the factory, Carlo decides he could be useful and gives him hope for a reunion by flirting with him. When she then tells him that Johnny needs something to help with the custody war, Peter presents him with Susie's birth certificate. 6. Following Audrey's rejection, Maria continues to secretly serve clients in her flat and Tracy suggests that she should set up on the side. When she starts to get rushed off her feet, Maria has an offer for Emma, but Audrey starts to get suspicious. 7. Sarah stands up to Ryan and says that he can whistle for his money. She refuses to be blackmailed. EastEnders. 8. After more rows with Max, Rainey makes contact with her drug dealer, but Phil witnesses the exchange and intervenes before having a heart-to-heart with Rainey. Having overcome her demons, Rainey then reunites with Max and they get things back on track. 9. Stuart is back in Walford after making a groveling apology to the Carters and promising to abandon the predator hunting for good. But when Linda implies he is outstaying his welcome, Stuart turns nasty with her. 10. Martin is tired of never having any time alone with Stacy, and after an incident with Lily and Tiffany, he declares their house guests have to go. They set up a meal to tell everyone, but Kat works out that they are being booted out. 11. Cora surprises Max and Rainey by turning up with Abby and letting them look after her for the day. But when she finds herself alone with Rainey, she has a proposition for her that would involve her betraying Max. 12. Tina is surprised to see Stuart around, and when Mick confronts him over his threat to Linda, he apologizes. Tina later heads out for a night out with Stuart, but the night then takes a horrifying turn. 13. Masood and Ian continue to bicker, especially when Masood sees the hold that Mel has over him. Later, Ian is hopeful when Mel invites him round, but she just wants him to babysit while she and Jack go out. Emmerdale. 14. Chaz is upset when she finds out that Paddy has been considering organ donation without speaking to her, and she opens up to Kane about everything that has been happening before deciding that she can't marry Paddy. 15. Graham fears that Megan is pregnant, but she assures him that the test was negative. Later, when Graham rescues Megan from a sticky situation, they share a kiss, but Charity spots them and warns Megan she knows the truth. 16. Moira is frantic when she learns that Matty is in hospital after being beaten up, but when she arrives for a visit, he makes it clear that he doesn't want her there. However, they then start to build bridges, but Moira is hurt when he later discharges himself without telling her. 17. Doug informs Lachlan that Terry is known for conning mourners at funerals, and Lachlan, believing that he is behind the threatening texts, follows him and then approaches him, planning to kill him. 18. Irene turns up to confront Charity over the letters she sent to Ryan, and she asks her to leave him alone. But Charity begs her for another chance to prove that she can be a part of her son's life. 19. Under pressure from Rishi, J.I. reluctantly agrees to go on a date with Manpreet's daughter Aisha just so Rishi can continue to gain favor from Manpreet. But will his plan pay off, or is Manpreet not interested? 20. Sarah is crushed when she is told that Sarah will have to remain in hospital until her transplant operation.